Hey, why don't we tell them how we go ghost hunting while you're traveling?
All right, sounds good to me. We love traveling.
Welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels with your hosts, Sean and Marianne Gauntlet.
Well, hello, pair of peeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
And I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
Hey, today we are actually doing a seminar at Hotel Conneaut on how you can actually do paranormal investigations while you're traveling.
And just while we're here, just saying, we're in the fireplace room, and the fireplace room has 2 reported hauntings in here.
So we might do a little bit of ghost hunting while we're here. We're doing this in front of a live audience. We're not going to show them on camera because these are all members of the Witness Protection Program. They can't be on camera.
Your jokes get worse
I
than
know,
yours all
they
the
get
time.
bad. They get worse as we go. All right. So anyways, let's start out with what we take as far as equipment. Okay. Now, some of these people were here with us last night as we did the ghost hunt. We had a lot of equipment last night between the 3 groups, didn't we? There was
We did.
all kinds of stuff. All right. Now, if we're going to pare down and we're going to travel, the one main device that we want to take definitely all the time is the digital recorder. Okay?
His and hers.
Definitely.
Digital recorders.
His and hers. Hers is red, mine is silver. Okay?
Get me one then.
So, you can actually pick these up. Mine is an Olympus. I like the Olympus because I can hear the playback really well. Hers is a Sony. We've had that one since the beginning.
Yes.
This is my second Olympus. The first one kind of went bad on me, but Santa brought me this one this year.
Santa did bring that for
So
you.
we're going to actually turn these on and see if we get anything while we're here. Okay, but it's very small. Okay, this is something you can just throw in your pocket or your purse and just walk around.
I'm just
Now
going to
let's-
put mine over here.
Let's talk about the digital recorder a little bit. Okay, but like I said, if you go on a historical tour or a day tour of a location or something like that, ask the tour guide, do you mind if I record this?
Now, sometimes they say, no.
Yeah,
This
no, they
is,
don't
you
mind.
can't have that.
A lot of
Other
times
times
they
they
don't
don't
like
mind.
video recording, audio recording they don't care, okay? So that's tip on what you're investigating, okay? Because you could pick up EVPs while things are going on.
Right, and most of the time people think that you can just get recordings and evidence and that at night, and that is not the case.
Not the case.
Ghosts don't care what time it is.
Yeah.
They'll come out when they want to come out.
I don't think they have a watch over there.
I don't think
That's
so.
just my opinion,
Yeah.
but
So just more people do ghost hunting at night because there's less contamination and you don't have to throw out as much evidence.
which we'll talk about contamination in a little bit. But we've caught some of our best EVPs, okay, the best, they call them Class A, they're the best ones that you can hear while we were just on regular tours or we were at different places having conversations. One that comes to mind all the time is the best one we ever had. My buddy and I, we were at the National Cemetery in Gettysburg. We were walking around, it was probably about 1:30 in the afternoon. Okay, we weren't doing an investigation. However, Mike taught us this, always go with that recorder going because you never know what you're going to get. We were standing at Nixon's great-great-grandfather's cemetery from Ohio, and we were talking about, I wonder what he thinks, about his president, the presidency and all that trouble and all that. And Mike said something, well, he probably knows and all that stuff.
You just asked.
But yeah, you just asked him. And over top of our conversation, clear as a bell, we heard, because we're still fighting. So that's a Class A. EVP, we weren't even investigating or asking anybody to speak with us. So you never know what you're going to get. Another tip too, I had that particular camera right there. We were doing, this just happened in November. We were touring President Lincoln's home in Springfield. And I asked the National Park Service, do you mind if I record this? They're like, okay, you want to ask before you whip out a big camera like that, or take it into the facility. I said, sure, go ahead, whatever. In that recording, we caught a giggle in the little boys, where the little Lincoln boys played with the
stereoscope.
stereoscope. So you never know when you're going to catch something. Those both instances were during the day, not during a paranormal investigation.
Just a regular
So,
tour.
Digital recorder, definitely. The second device that we highly recommend, and these guys got lessons last night, is the digital cameras. Okay? Now this is Mary Ann's little digital camera. It fits in her purse.
Yeah, I keep it in my purse all the time.
Yeah. Always
Never
looking
know
to
when you're
stay
going to
out.
need to take a picture.
I call Mary Ann our forensic photographer. Those of you that's on our YouTube channel, you'll see that like once a week we put out a video of nothing but pictures. We have well over 174,000 pictures that we've collected because she takes pictures of pretty much everything. Have you gone around here yet?
No.
She'll take pictures of little
Before I leave.
things in the wall and all kinds of stuff, but it's documentation and that's pretty cool. But this small little camera, it's a higher quality camera. This is a Nikon Coolpix. Fits in your purse. Most people who are traveling, they take a camera with them. If you go digital and you're not doing film, get yourself a nice size SD card, snap away, because you never know in the pictures what you're going to get too.
Yeah, and you want to get a small, regular type camera like this. You don't want to get one like, if you guys were on the tour with us last night, it looks slightly bigger. I didn't bring it down today, but it's just a regular camera. I bought it at Walmart, but it has a lens that pops out a little bit further on the front. And I was actually staying in a hotel that didn't really even have any paranormal claims, but I wanted to take pictures. And the hotel manager came and yelled at me and said I wasn't allowed to use professional photography inside of their establishment without permission. And I said, I'm a guest here. I'm not allowed to take a picture of the building I'm in, not with a professional camera. You can use your cell phone if you want, but you can't use. I'm like, I bought this at Walmart.
Yeah.
So
I actually called the manager and the whole thing about that, and you had to have a press release to use a camera and taking pictures in the place. And the funny thing is our cell phones take higher quality pictures than that
Yeah.
camera did.
so
So
it's really weird.
whatever.
Yeah.
We've been all over the country, and there's all different personalities and regulations and rules and stuff. And thank God we live in a free country. I want to tell you. But you go into museums, and I mentioned this last night too. That other camera that we have, you go to a museum sometimes, or a house. Okay, here's a good example. We went to Monticello. Okay, the home of President Jefferson. All right. We couldn't take pictures inside because the furniture and furnishings that were Jefferson's are not owned by the foundation that runs Monticello. So
They're on loan.
They're on loan. So you can't take pictures of them due to copyright reasons. Okay?
Yeah, because back in the day, they used to say, oh, because your flash will damage the textiles.
Yeah, now they're saying
now
copyright.
it's copyright, so you can't
So
take
some
pictures.
museums too, they ask no flash photography. Well, has anybody ever run into that?
Yeah.
They say no flash photography. So if you have a pretty good high quality cell phone nowadays, they'll adjust to the light and you don't have to have the flash on. But that one camera that I have too, the Sony one, takes great low light photography. So if you're going to travel and maybe hit some museums, make sure that you have something that you can take without flash. We didn't have those when we went to Graceland, and a lot of our pictures from there, from our Memphis trip, are blurry. That's what happens if your camera doesn't have one. Yeah, I really don't like that. You could come in and pay your fee to go in, but you can't take pictures. But then you could go on the internet and they're all over somebody
Yeah,
else.
somebody took on that.
So, yeah, it is what it is. So, okay, so the two main things that you want is a digital camera and a digital recorder. Those are small devices. You guys can carry those, right? Right? Not real heavy?
And I think we have all.
Put them in your purse. We got all women in here.
Female
right?
audience.
You guys
Stick
all
those
wear
right in your purse.
Yeah, that's really the two main tools that you need to do a paranormal investigation. That's it. You record the audio and take pictures. You pare it down to that, and you could go anywhere at any time and do an investigation. Now, if you want to get some additional stuff, and if you get older like me and starting to forget things, okay, maybe another thing that you want to take with you is a notebook. okay? Little journal, take notes. What we use this for. Now, everywhere we go, and the reason why, and nobody's ever asked this question. I'm going to see if somebody would ask this question, but we work for a school district. How do we afford the ability to travel at least 2-3 times a year across the United States? Well, one time we get to go in November because she attends a national biology conference.
And it's always in a different city.
It's always in a different city.
So
okay?
at night, well, the conference is done.
We look
We
for
have our
haunted
evenings.
locations,
We go
okay?
and we
or
investigate.
historical locations. So we've been to, just with the conference, we've been to Atlanta, Memphis, Anaheim, Long Beach, back to Atlanta, going to Chicago. We went to Providence.
We went to Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, Cleveland. Providence, Rhode Island, which just so happens that a 30-minute drive from there is Fall River, Massachusetts.
Lizzie
Okay.
Borden.
Lizzie Borden house. So we take like one of the nights, normally we get off work on a Wednesday, drive up to Cleveland, hit a plane, fly wherever we're going. We're there from Wednesday, Thursday, then fly back Sunday. So we'll be back to work Monday. So that's one way we get to do it. So that's part of work. She doesn't get paid to do it, but they pay for a substitute for her. So
Yeah,
we
I pay
cover
for
the
everything
cost.
else.
But it's part of her professional development, things like that. That's one way. Also working for a school district, we also have the luxury of being off together at least 1 month in the summer, and that's the month of July. So that's normally when we plan our vacation. Now, if we save up, and we scrimp, and another way that we could do it, just a sidetrack, we don't have kids. So, we save up, and if we, part of our vacation, wherever we're going, we look for haunted locations and things like that, and we try to cover as much as we can. As Mary Ann mentioned, we've been to Puerto Rico. Well, 2016 was our 10-year anniversary, so we decided we want to take a cruise. Okay, and normally when you catch a cruise, it's out of Miami. Well, panicd.com commercial. I have in there where you can bring up a map and you say, okay, we're going to Miami. Tell me around there any haunted locations. So we hit the Biltmore Hotel. What was the name of that church? I can't remember.
I can never remember the name
Yeah,
of
there
that
was
church.
a
It's
church
a big
there.
old stone church, just in the middle of nowhere. It's like on a side street.
South Beach, we went to Versace's, where Versace, that
Was
tragic
shot.
was shot. I can't think.
We
of
went to
anything
Key
else.
West on that and did like the
Yeah,
whole.
well, then we went on a cruise. That's how we went to Puerto Rico. There's a fort there. And then when we came back, we rented a car and drove down the Keys, and that's where we saw Robert Duvall and Ernest Hemingway's house and all that stuff. So that was our vacation. We tied all that
time
together. So, over the years, that's how we've accumulated 190 some different locations. So, do you want to talk about something I've been talking the whole time?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to mention the notebook. For me, when I go to haunted locations, as I go on tours, I make notes, things like if you came on the tour with me yesterday here, you saw me taking notes. But I also like to draw out locations too, so that I can see, okay, where were doors, where were windows, that kind of thing. And then I take that along with my digital camera pictures, and I can put that sort of together. And if I forgot, oh yeah, there was a door over here, I can see that. So if I'm going to go back to that location, I have a better layout in my head for future investigations. It also helps to debunk some things as well. If you're looking at it and say, oh well, that could be something, but oh wait, there's a mirror over there, so it could be a reflection, that kind of thing. So I use my notebook for all that as well.
And another thing that ties in the notebook, we always look for ghost tours, okay? And I didn't ask this question, does anybody travel a lot to different places? Okay, what's some of the cities or whatever that you gone to? Just all over?
When I was younger, we traveled cross-country in a car for 3 weeks, and so we did
A lot.
every monument that you could imagine,
Okay,
And now we just go mainly every weekend from Easter to Halloween to an amusement park somewhere.
okay.
And here.
Almost any major city and minor cities, if you look
But the
on the
major
internet,
ones.
okay, there's a ghost tour.
Yeah, oh, definitely, I've
Okay.
seen them.
Now, here's the thing about ghost tours. I love, the main thing that I love about the paranormal is the stories. The ghost stories or the paranormal stories. Just to hear about the location, you know, the story of Robert the Doll, the story of Jenny Wade, those type of stories. I just love that. It makes me think about like the olden days when you didn't have television and all that stuff, and you listen to the radio and these stories and that kind of stuff. So we always look for ghost stories. Now, most of them are great. Some of them are, you know,
Super
they said,
cheesy.
oh yeah, when so-and-so was on this tour, they got this. And when they were on this tour, they got this. And then they, you know, I had another guest that got this. And, you know, that's all it is. I'm like, well, tell me the story. What's going on?
What
So
happened
that
here?
happens
Why is this
too.
building important to us? Those
Yeah.
are the things we love.
So, you know, like Dallas, when we were in Dallas, we found a ghost tour and we went on it. And luckily, this is small enough that she can carry in her purse, and then we record some of it too. But the location, it was fast paced. There must have been about 12 different locations that we went to on this ghost tour. And it was late, and you know, I'm not paying attention, but we wrote down the locations and the stories. So the next day before we left, we were able to go back to those locations. Like Robert the Doll, that's a good example. When we went to Key West, we got the ghost tour and went to all these different locations. And you're there
At a location.
at a location maybe
5
20
minutes,
minutes
20
max.
Depending
And
on
you have
where you are.
everybody
you go
else
in or
that's
just
on this
outside.
tour with you, so you really don't have a lot of time. It's hard to get pictures, but we jotted them down. Hey, we want to go back here, we want to go back here. The next day, we went back to Robert the Doll, and we spent an hour with just her and I there, you know, during the day. Because who goes see a haunted doll during the day in Key West, you know, it's beautiful outside. They're out on the beach.
Yeah.
Here we are, creepy people with the haunted doll. So, you know, that's the point I'm making, is if you go to these different areas, look for the ghost tours, because the stories, they come from somewhere. You know, whether they're 100% true or whether they're, you know, dramatized a little bit, they come from somewhere. There is something in that story that if you really want to get into, and we have done this, where you could go and research and try to prove whether that story is right or wrong. And like Gettysburg, we've been on 5 different ghost tours from different people, and like somebody says this thing, somebody says that thing, and then her and I, we like piece it together, and this is actually what happened, and this is how those stories arrive. That to me is the interesting part. You know, it's kind of fun. Highly recommend that, and then you get some local history too on those that you wouldn't find anywhere else. And so ghost tours. Now here's the thing about ghost tours. You guys been on ghost tours before?
Just
Yeah,
like
you guys
the ones
familiar?
from last night.
Okay. If you go to the big cities, I keep saying Key West, but that's the one I can remember the most. But St. Augustine's a good example too. Normally these larger towns or something like that, and that's part of their tourist thing, they have like 3 different times where they do ghost tours. They have like the early one, the middle one, and the one late at night, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Normally that first tour, you're gonna get a bunch of kids that's gonna be on that tour.
Little kids.
Little kids.
Parents are not going to have them in bed yet.
Yeah, so if that doesn't bother you, you know, just be aware of that. But normally that tour guide is focusing on those kids and trying to scare the kids. So you kind of lose a little bit. The one at the end, you normally get, and this has been our experience because I don't even remember how many ghost tours we've been on. The one at the end, you get the drunken college kids that want to go along and like scare each other, you know? So that kind of takes away. So we recommend the one right in the middle, okay? And if you could book it ahead of time, like when we were going to St. Louis, we knew we wanted to go on a tour, we booked it when we were booking our flights and everything else, then you're insured that one in the middle, that's the best time to take a ghost tour. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know I'm rambling along, but...
You're just going for it. That's all right.
Okay, what else you got?
All right, so if you want to ramp things up a little bit, You can bring yourself a nice flashlight with you. Again, a nice small one, dollar one's worthwhile.
Most cell
You can
phones.
stick these in your bags. Most of your cell phones have them now too, yes. But I like to keep mine hanging on my finger, so if I need to do something, I can. I don't have to fumble with trying to turn my cell phone one on. It's just a one button click and I'm done. So I like to have that with me all the time too. And you'd be surprised how many buildings get really, really dark at night. Especially if you're, doing stairs. Sometimes it's nice to be able to see where your footing is. Because a lot of the buildings are not going to be in tip-top shape either. A lot of these will have,
Or
broken
they're
or under
rather,
construction.
rather large lighthouse.
Or a rather large lighthouse that you go up and the lights are off.
I told you guys a story of saying I always stayed lighthouse last night.
You literally have no light and the
didn't tell you
steps are
that part.
open. The steps are open. They just have like a grate. If you've ever been in a lighthouse, most of them, it's just a step is a grate. And like one false move,
You're dead.
And I love the fact that, halfway up, the hand railing, which is on the wall, not on the outside, where there's a big drop off. Sometimes they're coming out of the wall and that freaks me out. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I like to be able to look at my footing. And so it really, really helps.
The St. Augustine Lighthouse, when we went there, I told you guys a story about not getting the K2 and stuff like
By the way,
that.
this is K2.
We have a camera that, we thought, okay, we're going on these night tours so we can take pictures and stuff. It's like a toy type
It was
night
a toy
vision
night
camera.
vision
Did you ever
camera.
see those that just look like a little gun?
They look like
Yeah.
a temperature gun.
Like a temperature gun, but it does night vision video. It's got a little square thing on it. She actually used that camera to get down the stairs of the St.
Because
Augustine
there were no lights and
Lighthouse.
I didn't know any better to have a flashlight or
I'm
anything.
not
so I'm
good with
like,
stairs. I'm like, I ain't going up there. I'll wait down here for you. And she's not coming down. She's like, and it's in the video. You see.
Yeah. So there's two other pieces of equipment that we'll take if we know we're going someplace and we're going to be going on a ghost hunt. And they're definitely ramped up versus the ones that we've already shown you. And that's the K2 and an Ovilus. And those are the two that usually you have to explain to the TSA.
Yes.
So the other ones, they're like, oh yeah, I've seen a
Especially
camera,
the
I've seen a
K2.
flashlight.
They're like, what is that, sir? Can you turn that on? Because this actually does look like a detonator when it goes through an X-ray.
Oops.
So immediately, you guys, if you've flown before, you gotta take your shoes off, take your laptops out, put them in a thing. I
We take
take a
those
bin
out.
and I put my ghost hunting stuff in it.
And me, I take just a clear plastic bag and I put mine in there and then I lay that flat in one of those little plastic bins too. But mine for traveling is always clear.
In most cases,
That's
TSAs are pretty good. The temperature gun, who had the temperature gun last night?
We did.
The temperature gun?
Yeah.
We don't take a temperature gun. That just makes sense. Can you imagine what that looks like through the X-ray? Okay. But normally, TSA is pretty good. As soon as they see something, excuse me, sir, what is this? Yeah, I'm a ghost hunter. Oh,
Like, yeah,
that
you're
makes
those
sense.
creepy
You're one of
weirdos.
those guys. But I
Sometimes
have
they
been
make you turn
stopped.
on.
I've been stopped with the K2, and they're like, okay, you're gonna have to turn this on.
Show
but
us
they-
how this works.
show us how it works, turn it on. I've been stopped with my laptop. They detected something in my laptop too. I don't know what it is, but, and I comply with them 100%. They're doing their job. They're keeping us safe,
Right.
there's people I've seen arguing over, half a bottle of Mountain
Hand
Dew,
cream
like seriously, really just show them what it is and everything. Because, like an Ovilus, this is an expensive piece of equipment. And if they say, sorry, you can't take that on the plane, I'm not throwing it out. We're not going on a trip,
Right.
So, just kind of, that's common sense. You don't want to take a temperature gun on a plane. You don't want to take anything that looks like a weapon. Although K2 does look like a detonator, but they're pretty.
They're pretty common
They're
in a
pretty
lot
good.
of
As
people.
long as you turn it
Once
on.
you turn it on and show them that, oh, this is how it functions, and it is actually functioning, it's not,
Yeah.
they're usually pretty good about it.
Now things that we don't take.
I
You
was
got
gonna
more
just
stuff.
add one more thing that I did. So like for me, I was never a backpack person. Like I never wore a backpack to school ever. I was always carrying my books. Most of you probably did the same. And so people wearing backpacks just kind of really creeps me out. But I've found in the last 2 years, I've really liked using a quick backpack, just a little one, because I can take and fold this up and put it in my luggage. And then when I'm going ghost hunting at night on a ghost tour or something, I don't have to be holding everything that I own. So I just stick things in there. I'll stick my plastic bag of goodies in there, and I'm out the door of the hotel ready to hit the ghost hunting thing. So I've actually become a fan of the backpack bag just in the last 2 years, actually. So I do throw my things in there. It's easier when you're getting on and off a bus, rather than carrying your purse or having it hanging all over, being afraid. Because a lot of times they'll also tell you, okay, so if you have a purse, you can't have that on your arm. You have to hold it in front of your chest as you walk through here. Well, that's literally part of my body as it is now. So I don't have to worry about that too. So that's just another tip for late night ghost hunting on a ghost tour.
Yeah, and especially if there's a location that has
A lot of
heightened
antiques.
security, the Liberty Bell, one, Library of Congress we've been to, certain things like that. They will check your bags, So, pare down. Library of Congress, they'll make you check your bags.
Yeah, you have to
You
check
actually
your
have to put them in a locker. You can't even take them anywhere near the books, period, no question asked. So,
Yeah, out in just the normal people viewing area, you can still keep your stuff. But if you want to actually go and check into looking to get a book, you have to go through.
yeah, a labyrinth.
Yes,
Do you know,
it's like,
let me ask you guys this question. Do you know that every American is entitled to go to the Library of Congress to get a research card for free? Did you know that? You are.
and,
We have one.
and
We
unless
went
you
last
have
summer.
one of those, you can't get
You
near a
cannot
book.
get into the room where the books are unless you have a research card. It's a library card. But to get that library card took us 4 hours. 4 hours. We went to one person. Yeah, we're here. We're trying to look up this book, and we know it's here in the Library of Congress. We have the number and everything. Okay, well, you're going to have to go over there. Are you 16? Yeah, I'm over 16.
We're gray. Are we 16 yet?
Yeah, you got to go over there and talk to those people. Okay, so we'll go over and talk to people. Yeah, we're here to look up and research.
Did you get your photograph yet?
Yeah, did you get your photograph? No. Are you 16? Oh, you gotta go talk to that person. That went on for 4 hours. But finally, you go through this little labyrinth and you go into this area, boom, they snap your picture, you get a little card. Mine's in my wallet, I don't wanna get it out. Research card. So now you can go into where the books are, the rare books and things like that. Any H.H. Holmes fans in here? Anybody know who H.H. Holmes is?
It sounds familiar.
H.H. Holmes was the first American serial killer.
Right,
Okay.
yes.
There was a show on
History.
History Channel called American Ripper. And there's a book written by Jeff Mudgett called Bloodstains. That's where we're going next weekend. We're going to go meet up with Jeff Mudgett and do all that stuff. However, H.H. Holmes, when he was in prison, had a book published of all of his creepy stuff that he did. And he had that book and made notes in that book. Okay? When that show aired, American Ripper, they featured that book in the Library of Congress. This is the book, and it's signed by H.H. Holmes and all that stuff. So when we decide, hey, what are we going to do last summer? We're going to the Library of Congress to look that book up and see it. And we saw it.
Wow.
It was awesome. Problem is, you couldn't take pictures.
Yeah, you had to check your phones and your bags and everything.
Oh, really? But it's in the rare book collection. And they don't bring it out anymore. They're like, no. I'm like,
Yeah, we
oh
don't.
man, that's why we
can't
come
bring
here.
that out anymore. But I had a list of like 5 books that
Yeah.
I wanted, and so they went through it, and most of them we couldn't access. So like that one, oh, that
One they
one's
couldn't
too rare,
find.
we can't do it. One they
Yeah.
couldn't find, and the other ones were actually on display in Jefferson's library books that were downstairs, and they were on display so we couldn't see them. So they felt bad, and they're like, okay, we're not
Well,
allowed
no,
to do this.
don't get to that point yet. Okay. The curator really felt bad because we told him, hey, we come from Ohio, and this is our vacation, we want to see this, and that kind of stuff. He really felt bad. We actually got to see an original wanted poster for John Wilkes Booth and the 2 other guys,
Surratt.
Surratt and all of them, with the tintype photos on the top. It's in the Library of Congress. He brought it out and he goes, I'm sure you're gonna like this.
He said, based on your list of books you wanted to see,
Yeah.
we know you'll like
So
this.
we're sitting there, we're looking at it, and we're like bummed and everything.
But we were super excited to see
And he
that.
comes over and he goes, you know what, my boss is, you got 5 minutes, I'll be right back. And he brought out that H.H. Holmes book.
Oh,
Here you go. I'm like, oh man, that was awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no
we actually
photo.
saw that book.
but that's okay, we physically.
So that's our haunted travels. That's what we do, is that kind of stuff. That's this to me is like, are you kidding me? Who else gets to do that? So, but
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna be able to come across when you go on vacation. You know, you might have all these wonderful plans and some of them get foiled, but sometimes you come across something that you would never have expected and it's just amazing and almost life-altering.
yeah, for us,
I
it
mean,
is.
when we saw that reward poster, I mean, we're big Lincoln fans.
I've seen copies of them. You know, everyone's
Yeah.
seen copies of them,
But-
but this was an original one that they printed and had the tintype photos. I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But all right, what else you got?
As far as taking with us, that's usually what
What not to take? Let's talk about that, okay? What not to take? We talked about the temperature gun.
Mhm.
That makes sense. We don't take our video cameras, our night vision video cameras and that kind of stuff. Mainly, like this camera right here, I won't take that camera. Mainly because of weight, okay? We found with our cell phones, it's got such a high quality video anymore. If we need to do video, we'll just do clips on our phone. Or that other camera, which we didn't bring, does video. I think your little red camera.
Yeah, it
will do
does as
video.
well.
Is it the best quality on those other cameras? They're still 1080 high definition. So we don't carry the night vision cameras. It's just because of weight. You know, you gotta pay by the pound for.
You gotta pay by the
For
bag and
anyways.
everything now there.
If you like this video and like to see more in the future, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and give us a like below. Also, if you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comment section. Thanks for watching this episode of Our Haunted Travels.